I'm gonna read this continually, day by day, because I want to read this too because it's really good. And I had the white noise machine on because the distractions of the walking and the floors, the cracking, it's distracting me. Like, so that's why I turn the white noise machine on. And then they keep walking like right by me. It's like really distracting. So that's why it's good to have the machines around. So this is gonna be like a whole bunch of pages to read, but it probably won't get done until like in a couple minutes by reading this. So it says, a mean king, Exodus chapter 1. As time went by, all of Joseph's brothers died, but they had children, and their children had children. So the sons of Jacob really did become a big nation. Jacob's other name was Israel. So the nation was called Israel. And the people of this nation were called the children of Israel. And sometimes they were called God's people, and sometimes they were called Jews. And now a new king came into power in Egypt, and he didn't know about Joseph. Look at these Jewish people, he said. There are so many of them. They are stronger than we are. We have to do something. If we don't, their group will grow up even bigger. What if we have a war? They will join our enemies, and they will fight us, and they might leave our land. So the king put masters over God's people, and he made them do hard work, and he made them build cities to store things in. But the more work they did, the more their families grew. And the people of Egypt were afraid of the Jews, and he made them work very hard, very hard. They made the Jews live unhappy, and the Jews had to build with bricks, and they had to work hard in the fields, and the people of Egypt were very mean to them. And now 2 Jewish women were like nurses, and they helped other Jewish women when they had their babies. The king gave them orders. If the Jews' babies are boys, kill them, he said. If the babies are girls, let them live. But these 2 women believed in God. They knew he did not want them to kill the baby boys. So the king called for them, and he said, why do you let the babies live? The 2 women said, our Jewish women have their babies fast, and the babies are born before we get there to help. So God was good to these 2 women, and he gave them children too. That's because they obeyed God, and they thought it was more important to obey God and to obey the king than to obey the king, the bad Pharaoh. And there were more and more of God's people. So the king gave his people an order to throw the Jewish boy babies into the Nile River. The princess in the basket, Exodus chapter 2. And one Jewish mother hid her baby boy, and she hid him for 3 months. And then he was too big to hide anymore. And so she took a basket and she painted her tar on it to keep it out of the water. Then the mother put the baby in the basket, and she put the basket at the edge of the Nile River, and she set it among the tall border plants, and the baby's sister stayed a little way off. She watched to see what would happen. And the princess went down to the Nile River that day, and her servant girls went with her. Her servant girls were with her, and they walked along the edges of the river. The princess saw the basket among the water plants, and she told one of her servant girls to get it. And when the princess opened the basket, she saw the baby, and he was crying, and the princess felt sorry for the baby. This is a Jewish baby, she said. Then the baby's sister spoke to the princess. Shall I go find a Jewish woman? She could take care of the baby for you. Yes, said the princess. So the baby's sister went and got the baby's mother. And the princess told her, take care of this baby for me. I'll pay you for it. And so the baby's mother took him home, and she took care of him for the princess. And he grew from a baby to a young boy. And then one day his mother took him to the princess. The boy became the son of the princess, and she called him Moses. His name sounds like the Jewish word that means pull out. The princess said, I pulled him out of the water. Number Exodus 2, running away. So Moses grew up to be a man, and one day he went where the Jews were working, and he knew they were his own people, and he watched how hard they worked. And then Moses saw a man from Egypt beating a Jewish man. And Moses looked around. Nobody was watching, so he killed a man from Egypt, and he hid the body in the sand. The next day Moses went out again, and he saw two Jewish men fighting each other, and he turned to the man who started the fight. Why are you hitting your neighbor? He asked. Who said you could be our prince? The man answered. Do you think you would kill me? I know you killed the man from Egypt. Moses got scared, and people must know about what I did, he thought. And the king had heard about it, and he tried to kill Moses, but Moses ran away from the king. He went to a land called Midian, and he sat down by a well there. In a little while 7 girls came to the well, and their father was a priest in Midian. And they came to the well to give their sheep some water. But some shepherds came over to the well, and they pushed the girls away. Moses stood up, and he came over and made the shepherds move back, and then he got water for the girls' sheep. The girls went back to their father Jericho. How did you get home so early? He asked. A man from Egypt was at our well, they said. He saved us from the shepherds, and he got water for our sheep too. Where is he? Asked Jericho. Why did you leave him there? Ask him to come and eat with us. So Jericho asked Moses to stay with them, and Moses said he would. Jericho let his daughter marry Moses, and sometime later Moses and his wife had a baby boy. While Moses was away, the king of Egypt died, and Jews cried to God. They cried because they had to work so hard for Egypt's people, and God heard them. He remembered the promise he had made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So God watched over his people, and he cared about what was happening. So Exodus chapter 3, the fire. So Moses took care of Jericho's sheep one day, and he took them far across the desert, and he came to a Horeb mountain. It's sometimes called God's mountain. And God came to Moses there, and he showed himself as a fire that was burning on a bush. Moses saw the fire, and he also saw that the bush didn't burn up. So Moses thought, this is strange. Why doesn't this bush burn up? I'll take a closer look. And God saw Moses walk closer, so God called to him from the bush, Moses, Moses, I'm here, said Moses. Don't come any closer, said God. Take off your shoes, you're standing on land. That is special. It's just for me. Then God said, I am the God of your family from long ago. I am Abraham's God, Isaac's God, and Jacob's God. Moses hid his face when he heard this, and he was too scared to look at God. I've seen how unhappy my people are, said God. I heard them crying in Egypt. Their masters are hard on them, and I care about how they are hurting. So I have come to save them. I have come to take them out of Egypt, and I'll take them to a good big land. It's a land that's rich, plenty of food that grows there. So I want you to go to Egypt, said God, and I'm sending you to the king, and you'll bring my people out of Egypt. But who am I? Asked Moses. I'm not strong enough to go to the king. How could I bring the Jews out of Egypt? I will be with you, said God. Bring my people out of Egypt, and you will worship me on this mountain, and you will know that God really sent you. Let's say I go to the Jews, said Moses, and I tell them God sent me to them. What if they ask what God's name is? Then what will I say? The name is I am who I am, said God. You say I am sent you. Tell them that I am the Lord. I am Abraham's God. I am Isaac's God. I am Jacob's God. And this will be my name forever. It's the name parents will teach their children to call me. Now go to the leaders of the Jews, and said God, and tell them these things, and they'll listen to you. Then all of you must go to the king. Tell him that the Jews God talk to you. Ask the king to let you travel into the desert for 3 days. Ask him to let you give gifts to the Lord your God. But I know the king of Egypt said, God, he won't let you go unless someone strong makes him. So I'll hit Egypt with troubles, then he will let you go. And when my people leave, they'll go with their handful. Ask the people of Egypt for silver and gold and clothes. Put these on your children, then you will leave with the riches of Egypt. So Exodus chapter 4, the snake. So what if the Jews don't believe me, asked Moses? What if they won't listen to me? God, what if they say that you never came to me? What are you holding in your hand? Asked God. A stick that I use for walking, said Moses. Throw it down, said God. So Moses threw his stick on the ground, and it turned into a snake, and Moses ran away from it. Reach out for it, said God. Pick it up again by its tail. Moses reached out and he picked it up, and the snake, it turned back into his walking stick. Do this and it will show the people that I came to you, said God. Now put your hand inside your coat. Moses put his hand inside his coat, and when he took his hand out, it was white as snow. It was covered with a skin sickness. Now put your hand back inside your coat, said God. Moses put his hand back inside his coat, and when he took his hand out, it was well again. They might not believe the first wonder, said God, but they will believe the second one, or they might not believe at all. Then dip out some of the water from the Nile River and let it flow onto the ground, and it will turn into blood on the ground. Then Moses said, I've never been good at talking to people. I haven't gotten any better even after you talk to me. I'm too slow. Who gave people their mouths? Asked God. Who makes people able to hear or see? Don't I do that? So go. I'll help you talk. I'll teach you what to say. Please, God, said Moses, send somebody else. Then God became angry at Moses. And how about Aaron, your brother? He can talk well. He is already on his way here. He will be glad to see you. You talk to him and tell him what to say, and I'll help both of you. He will be like a mouth for you, and you will give him my words. Take your walking stick with you, and you can do wonders with it. Then Moses went back to Jericho, and Moses said, let me go back to Egypt an hour. See if any of my family are still alive. All right, said Jericho. I hope everything goes well. So Moses took his walking stick and went back to Egypt. His wife and sons went with him, and they rode on a donkey. God said, I gave you power to do wonders. Show them to the king, but I will make his heart hard, and he won't let my people go. You're saying that God's people are like his first son, and you're saying to let them go so they can worship. Tell the king that if he says no, his first son will die. Then God told Aaron, go to the desert, meet Moses there. So Aaron met Moses at the God's mountain, and Aaron kissed Moses. And then Moses told Aaron what God wanted him to say, and he told about the wonders God had told him to do. Moses and Aaron went to Egypt, and they called the leaders of the Jews together, and Aaron told them everything God had told Moses. He showed the wonders to the people, and they believed him, and they learned that God cared about them. And they learned that God saw how unhappy they were, so they bowed down and worshiped God. So, Exodus chapter 5 and 6, hay bricks. And then Moses and Aaron went to see the king, and they told him what the Jews, God said, and God's words were, let my people go. I want them to go to the desert. I want them to have a holiday for me. Who is the Jews, God? Asked the king. Why should I obey him? I don't know him, so I won't let the people go. The Jews, God came to us, said Moses and Aaron. So let us take a trip to the desert, and we'll be going for 3 days, and we will worship God by giving him gifts there. If we don't, he might make us sick, or we might get hurt. Look, said the king, there are lots of people in the land, and you are just trying to keep them from working. Then the king talked to the work bosses. Don't give the people any more hay. to make bricks, tell them to get their own hay. But they still have to make just as many bricks. They don't want to work. That's why they are asking me if they can go. So make the work harder for them, and then they won't listen to these lies. The work bosses told the people what the king said, and then the Jews had to look for hay. It took time, and they had trouble making as many bricks as they did before. The work bosses beat them, and they said, "Why didn't you make us many bricks today?" Then the Jewish leaders went to the king, and "Why are you doing this?" they asked. "The bosses don't give us hay, but they want us to make just as many bricks. They beat us, but we are not to blame." "You just don't want to work," said the king. "That's why you keep asking me to let you go to worship your God. Get back to work. You won't get any hay, but you have to make just as many bricks." The Jewish leaders saw that they were in trouble, so they went to Moses and Aaron, and Moses and Aaron were waiting for them. The leaders said, "God will judge you for this. You made the king hate us, and we all will be killed." Moses talked to God. "Why are you bringing us trouble? Why did you even send me here?" He asked. "I went to the king, but now he is giving your people a hard time. You haven't saved them at all. Now you'll see what I'm going to do," said God. "The king will let the Jews go, and my strong hand will make him do it. He will send you out of this land." Then God said, "I am Abraham's God, I am Isaac's God, and Jacob's God, and I promised to give them the land of Canaan, and I have heard my people cry. I remember my promise, so tell them that I am the Lord, and I will take you out of this land. I will set you free, and you will be my people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord, your God. I will take you to the land I promised to the Jews, and I am the Lord." Moses told the Jews what God had said, but they didn't listen to him. Their hearts were too sad and worried. God told Moses, "Go to the king and tell him to let the Jews go. Let the Jews leave this land." "The Jews won't listen to me," said Moses. "So why should the king listen to me? I don't even talk very well." Snakes in the blood, Exodus 7. And God talked to Moses. "It will seem to the king that you are like God. Aaron will go with you. Say whatever I tell you. Aaron will talk to the king, and I will show many signs and wonders, but the king won't listen to you. Then I will send trouble to Egypt, and I will bring my people out." So Moses and Aaron obeyed God. Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83. And God said, "The king will tell you to do a wonder, so tell Aaron to throw down the stick he uses for walking. It will turn into a snake." And Moses and Aaron went to the king. Aaron threw his stick down. It turned into a snake. What is that? Hold on, guys.